Master. Okay. If you know, you know. Kung Fu Kenny. If you know, you know. But anyway, welcome back.
What's up, guys?
Welcome back to the Two Young Pastors podcast. This is episode number
8.
seven, eight. Episode number eight. My name is Jajuan Sanders, and I am one of your amazing hosts of our podcast. And I'm joined by my friend, who's right there. He's sitting right there. Yeah. You see, you got messed up too, right? You got
Yeah. I was okay.
Uh,
My name is Elijah. What's up, guys? It's
I'm
a
joined by
holiday
my man
special.
Elijah.
Yeah.
It is the holiday special. Merry Christmas indeed. Happy
Merry
holidays.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas to each and every single one of you who is out there.
Yeah.
We're so happy that you can indeed take the time away from work, take time away from school, and spend some good times with family. Hopefully, we hope that you're spending some good time with family or with friends, and that
That's
you're
special
simply
somebody.
enjoying the Christmas holiday.
Yeah.
You know, and so since we are indeed talking about the holidays,
Hey, bro.
you feel it?
Bro. Can I just put a quick plug for Anchored merch? Be like, hey, this is a perfect Christmas present, guys.
I can't see it.
Present. This
Can
is.
you stand up?
This is
I can't.
This is
I really can't see it because
what?
my phone's in the way. So like my phone is literally in the way.
Oh wait. I soloed you by accident. I don't know why. I was soloed you by accident. This is the Christmas merch, guys. It's the active tea. This is the active tea.
Is it just an anchor?
Anchor,
It's just an anchor.
And then on the back, it says "Anchored Living Secured."
Oh,
So for all you guys that are hitting the gym, this is the merch to give. This is like a nice oversized shirt, and then there's hoodies, y'all. There's hats. People are
I see you
wearing
encouraging
gear,
the saints.
t-shirts, guys. Y'all gotta hop on this before prices go up. God, this is the time to get it. This is the time to get it.
So for the people who may be watching, who may not be affiliated with your church, well, you got to explain what Anchored is. You got to explain what Anchored is.
Anchored has evolved. It is in the good way. Evolved in the good way that we believe in. Anchored has been our young adult and youth ministries at Capitol Hill. We have been able to have conferences every single year. We do a conference in August. Now we're doing worship videos, man. So we're releasing a Christmas special on Christmas Day for our Wednesday in the Word. So we're getting into the worship scene. Our goal is to make sure that Christians know that Adventists are able to produce some amazing music. So CC is on that album. Aaron is on that album, bro. Paul's on that album, and we're gonna release it on this Wednesday, on next Wednesday, or I guess tomorrow when this episode airs. And
shout out to Cicely Jervis, Aaron Stewart, and I actually don't know. I don't know who Paul is. Paul Avery. Shout out to Paul Avery. Shout out to all three of y'all. Just wanted to make sure that y'all got some full name recognition out there, so that we can indeed. That's December 25th.
December 25th. Yeah. So what I'll do is hey, I'll post it. It'll be posted on the Capitol Hill page. But I'll make sure that we post bits here on the At the Well page too. So y'all can get some content here as well. So it's gonna be great. I'm looking forward to it. That's Christmas, bro. But it's grown. Now we have merch and we have different shirts and stuff. Our goal is faith over fear. Faith over fear. I don't even know what this is. It's upside down right now, but for me it's straight. It's like straight for me. Like if you're looking at me, it's straight. It's like faith over fear. And dude, what's crazy is a member made this, bro. I didn't make it. Like they saw They saw the logo, they saw the theme, and they're like, wow. And then they went out and they made a batch of these. And they gave a few to me and said, hey, pass this out to the people that you want. And then someone went out, bro, and made a tumbler, like a 40-ounce tumbler, where it says faith over fear on it. and it's in like olive green, like dark olive
Word.
green. So people are going out
Dang.
and making their own thing, bro. That I was
Dang
like,
it up.
wow. So it meant like I was not expecting that. So yeah, if you have not bought your Christmas presents yet, think about Anchor. But talk about Christmas, man. Talk about Christmas, bro. What is
Man, I
your
was asked. I asked you.
yeah.
Before you gave your shameless plug, and
All right.
props to the shameless plugs. We love the shameless plugs.
Yeah.
I was asking, how you feeling about the holiday season this year?
Yeah.
Any special plans that you got happening? Anything
Yeah.
out of the ordinary that you're trying to do for the year? Talk to us.
Yeah, man. So I'm going on a holiday cruise.
Holiday.
With the family. What got me into it, bro, was my friend Benny Varghese. He got married. He got engaged last year, and
Hmm.
he asked me to be one of his best men. And as I was planning, I was like, "Yo, let's go on a cruise for your bachelor party." And he was like, "Really?" And I was like, "Yeah, man." So planned it all. And it was like 12 of us, and
Yeah.
we all got on a cruise, had fun for his bachelor party. So when we were planning our vacation this year, I told my mom, my dad, I was like, "Hey, we're going on a cruise. So I don't care
Yeah.
what you're doing in the fall or in the winter.
We're going.
We're going on a cruise." Exactly. So I made
Yeah.
them take off. They own their own business. So I said,
Mm.
I don't care what you have to do. Hire somebody for that days. Make sure that it's all set and taken care of. So we're going on a holiday cruise, man. We're going to Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, and
Hey.
Saint Martin, and then sailing back. So I guess when this airs, we'll be on the cruise, bro. So it's gonna be great. Just time to
Mhm.
relax on vacation. How about you, man? What's the holiday look like?
Listen, man, the holiday looks like us, me and my fam, enjoying this time that we have here, because the Ravens are playing on
Mm,
Christmas Day, and it's crazy. Wait, do yachts, not yachts,
nah,
cruises
I'm not
have
on that level.
TVs? Will y'all be able to watch the game?
Do you know what I did? I looked
I
at the
don't.
itinerary and I looked
Yeah.
if they're gonna play in the game, and they have a sports bar on the ship. So I will
Oh,
be
perfect,
watching the game on
perfect.
Saturday night. All
Yeah,
of Sunday, I'll be in the sports bar watching the game on the
the game
cruise.
is on Wednesday. It's on Wednesday. It's on Wednesday.
No. So they stream all the games on the ship. So
Oh, so you're gonna be
the Saturday games, the Sunday games, and the Wednesday games.
Oh, so are you gonna be in there like all day? Like, are you like one of those like you watch all the games type of guy?
I I literally sit on my couch getting work done, or
Hmm.
and watch the game, or if I have to go somewhere on Sundays, I have it playing on my
Yeah.
phone. I think I told you, like, for Pastor Dyson's retirement party, I was watching the game on my phone.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yes.
and almost got in trouble yelling when the
You said
Ravens
you
got
almost got in trouble.
when they scored a touchdown at the end.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh man. Oh man. That's. Hey, I'm happy to hear it. I'm definitely happy to hear it. I'm happy to hear that. So it sounds like you're gonna be in the bar for like a couple of days
well, let's not
because
say
you
it like
play.
that. Let's not phrase it like that.
Okay, it sounds like you're going to be in the sports bar for a couple of days. Like,
For some
like,
reason, it sounds
like,
better. Like, it sounds not as crazy when I say it, but when someone says it to me, it sounds crazy. Is that bad?
like you literally said I'm gonna be in a bar, on Saturday, Sunday, and Wednesday. Like, and I
Yeah.
guess Monday too, since I think
Oh
there are
yeah,
some
yeah.
games that'll come on Monday.
Yeah.
So I don't think that you gotta be experience shame because you're in a bar, like you're watching football. Like,
I think it's just like cultural like anxiety, I guess, which I think we're
I
just
mean,
talking about today a little bit, but
don't forget that earlier in our first or second episode, you
yeah,
talked
yeah.
about the fact that you went to a bar, a
No,
sports bar, to watch the game.
you're
Like,
right. You're right. I think it's like being in it where I'm just like, it's cool, whatever. But then hearing someone else say it is like, I mean,
is this the best look? Is this the best look
yeah,
for a Christian, for a pastor? Yeah,
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 definitely.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So while you're enjoying yourself doing that on the cruise, I'm gonna be with my fam this holiday season. I'm actually off next week.
Yeah.
So won't be here. Won't I'm not working. Thank God. We get two vacation weeks in the year, and I'm finally taking the second vacation week. So I think that's important. That's crucial. Because there's some housework that I really want to continue to do.
Still.
During my week off, one of the things I did was I painted my mom's like living room and stairwell, made it look a lot better. Just made it look a lot better. It was necessary because it was looking rough. But made it look better, and so it looks great. And now I wanna paint the dining room. I want to paint the dining room. So as much as possible, I'm trying to get through like that main floor.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how often you have people come to your house, right? But for a very long time, we haven't had individuals coming to our house for like holiday events or just get-togethers in general. And I think part of the reason why is because we haven't necessarily been keeping up with like how our house looks.
Yeah.
And so it's easy at times for, especially like when you're a kid, and
I didn't think about it.
it didn't hit me how hard it is being a kid on a parent or having kids for a parent, because like your children can be reckless. Like I
I
remember
understand.
we used to just mess things up,
Yeah.
like because we don't see the value in it, and so like there were holes in certain walls, and so as I patched it up, like now you can't tell that in the living room we had holes in certain places, that we had scuff marks on certain
Wow.
walls.
Really?
You know, like it looks. I wish I took pictures, but I'm really not the before and after type of person.
Not yet.
I'm just the, at least not yet. You know what I'm saying? I've been told that I should start an interior design business. You know what I'm saying? Because if you know me, I love interior design. I'm in my office at my church right now, and like just like stuff like this. I love this. Like
That's
I
nice.
love this. Like this is actually like grooves, and it's just stuff like that. I love it. So I'm trying to help my mom with that, and really enjoy the game. Hopefully the Ravens beat the Texans. It seems like there's some interesting stuff going on. For most of the season, Lamar Jackson was like the MVP
Yeah.
front runner.
And then all of a
Now
sudden,
Josh Allen is the MVP front runner,
apparently,
and apparently, I mean
apparently.
the betting odds say that it's Josh.
I,
And I
I,
mean, I think I I don't think that they've had a tough schedule.
I
You
don't think
know,
so
uh,
either.
I don't think that they've had to overcome a lot. I think that the Ravens have gone against good quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Um, and their defense was rough. Their defense was rough for most of the season. They
Yeah.
didn't start getting it together until 3 weeks ago, going on 4
Yeah.
weeks now. And so, like, to hear that, it's just like it's like a huh.
Yeah. Like
Uh,
Josh Allen played against like a banged up Lions
Detroit
defense, and
Lions defense, bro.
and then all of a
And
sudden
everyone's acting like, oh my
he's the
god,
best.
like he like he's the MVP, and it's just like
No.
he went up against a pedestrian defense. Like,
Depleted.
dude, and yes, they're a good team. They're a
Yeah.
great team.
Yeah.
Like, which is shown by the fact that their offense was still able to put up 42. Like the Detroit
Right.
Lions offense was still able to put up 42 points.
Right.
But we're talking about a defense where several of their starters are just out. We're not just talking about Aiden Hutchinson being out. No, we're talking about cornerbacks. Like cornerbacks being gone.
Linebackers.
So, bro's playing against a bunch of he's playing against a bunch
The
of
backup team. Yeah. Yeah.
and so I'm just like, all right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But power to the Lions for still being able to put up a lot of points. And I mean, I respect Josh.
I do too.
I think it's kind of sort of just like I just don't agree. I don't
Yeah.
agree that he's the MVP just because he had a good game against. He had and it's crazy how people are like bringing out these narratives
Right.
And this is why sports media is so trash. Like
This is
because they
Jajuan in his
said,
element.
yeah. Like, and like this is why like the national media just really doesn't matter. Like the things that they say, the ideas that they come up with, it just does not matter. And the
No.
reason is because like they'll take anything and they'll spin it so that the people who they want to win certain things, they can go on and win it. Because at the
Yeah,
end of the day, it's money. It's money
it
for them.
is.
So like they don't care about these players, especially
No.
if it's not like they're for their favorite teams. They
Yeah.
just care about, hey, what can help us get money. And so knowing that like there are several people who have wanted Josh Allen to be the MVP for many years, right? There are several people who've wanted Josh Allen to win. And it's for obvious reasons. I'm not going to say those obvious reasons, but it's for obvious reasons for several people as to why they want Josh Allen to win.
Yeah.
But what I can say is that like the narrative changed real quick. Oh man, Josh Allen, he beat the number one team and both AFC and NFC. And in my head, I'm like, I could see if he beat the Lions
Right.
5 weeks ago.
Right. That'd be a
Like
different story.
I could see it. I could see if he beat the Chiefs like week 1
Right.
or week 2
Right.
when we didn't know that their offense was average.
Right.
Like
Right.
but he beat them a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
They lost. Like, come on. I just
Like,
anyway. That happened.
I'm with you. Like it's kind of frustrating to hear it. And he beat up a banged up Niners team too, in the snow. And they're like, he caught a touchdown, ran a touchdown, threw a touchdown. I was like,
Bro.
like the entire
I don't think Brock Purdy was starting. Like, I don't think Brock Purdy wasn't starting. Brandon Ayuk is dead. Christian McCaffrey is dead.
Brock Purdy started that game. Brock Purdy started
He did.
That
I thought he was
snow
injured.
game. He started. No, he started, but he had no one to throw to. He just had Kittle, who was open down the middle. But outside of that, nothing happened.
Is Deebo Samuel back? Is he like?
Bro, that was the game, or the game after that maybe, where he was like, "I'm not getting the ball. Just throw to me. Just throw to me. Just throw to me." And then the week after, he had like 6 drop passes, bro. 6 I mean into the basket, and he dropped it. And I was just like, that's embarrassing. Like I'm definitely not on Deebo Samuel's level, and I never say that I would be. But if you ask for the ball and then you drop the ball 6 times, like there were so many times where he could have caught it, and then they would have had a first down. They would have kept marching down the field, but they didn't. So Josh Allen playing against a team that is playing against themselves and then winning like that, especially when Nick Bosa's out, they had some linebacker issues, like a whole bunch of stuff happening. I don't know how I feel.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll say this. If he wins it, I'm okay with it. Like he's a great quarterback. He's a great quarterback. I'm not worried about him. I still don't think that they've really gone against like a really good team outside of like the Chiefs defense.
Yeah.
And I think that despite how inconsistent the Ravens have been, I think that they can pull off
A run.
good football in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I know that there are several individuals out there who could say, well, they haven't done it. Lamar Jackson hasn't done well in the playoffs since he's been in the league. Cool. You got it.
Yeah.
And I see the team that I watch every week.
Yeah.
And really, it's just a thing of if they don't beat themselves, they'll be fine. Because they're one of the most talented teams in NFL, despite their offensive line. And I think that they can cover up for certain things.
Yeah.
Because they got the best quarterback in the league on their team, and people will. I don't care how much. I don't care how many Super Bowls Patrick Mahomes just won. I don't think he's a better quarterback than Lamar Jackson.
I don't think so.
He has a better arm. Yes, he has a better arm.
He's not as athletic as Lamar,
which is why he's not better.
Yeah.
The only thing that he's better at is taking the easy layups, as people say. Like Lamar, At times, he won't take the easy layups.
No.
He'll sometimes do the hard thing because he knows that he can.
Right.
And like, if the game's out on the line, okay. But if the margin for error is very small, you need to take those layups. You need as many layups as possible.
That's the Brady, like that's the Brady effect, right? He will take the check downs, he will take the slot pass day after day after day, and that's what wins the games.
And that's what you got to do in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, I don't know how many times Lamar went deep in that playoff game earlier this year. I don't know how many times he chose not to run.
Right.
You know, and he just stayed in the pocket until it was too late. And it's just like, dude, run.
Right.
You are the best athlete on the field. Run.
Yeah. Right.
Like, try. So, you know, that's not what we're here to talk about. But
we put it to a Ravens podcast.
But that's what I'm doing on Christmas. You know, Christmas, and hopefully, you know, the house will continue to be transformed and look nice. You know, just want to be able to do something special for my mom. And, you know, I've been saying this thing. Deion Sanders, he says it like this: if you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you play good. If you play good, you get paid good. And so, you know, for me, I think, you know, if your place looks good, then you feel good.
Yeah.
And if you feel good, you know, I mean, yeah. And if you feel good, you live good. And if you live good, you know, I don't have an ending point for that one, you know. But I really do believe that if you are happy with your surroundings, you know, especially during like these winter months, and it's real easy for like Christmas. I mean, during the Christmas season, for seasonal depression to start hitting.
Kicks in.
I believe that, like, if you at least are in a space and you're like, this is an oasis, I think that you are more likely to enjoy yourself and be able to withstand some of the sadness that will come from the lack of sunlight, possibly from not being able to see certain loved ones. And so, if the place looks good, it'll help you feel good. And if you feel good, it'll increase the chances of you living good. And if you live good, then you'll be able to thrive real good. You'll thrive. You'll thrive. Good.
Thrive.
Whatever. But you know, since it's Christmas, man, I think it's important for us to talk about Christmas. Because I don't know about you, but what I can confidently say is that you know, growing up as a believer, I wasn't always celebrating Christmas. I remember that, like, when I was a kid, there were a few times where, like, we would decorate the house and we had a tree. I remember that. And then I remember one year it just changed. It changed, and instead of being a family who acknowledged Christmas, who celebrated Christmas, we turned into the family that said Christmas is a pagan holiday.
Yeah.
And because Christmas is a pagan holiday, we will no longer celebrate Christmas. And so that happened because at my local church, my home church in Baltimore, they began to teach us that Christmas was a pagan holiday.
Yeah.
And so while all my other friends were celebrating it and doing nice stuff for the holiday, we weren't. And you know, it worked out because we were broke anyway. We didn't have money, so it's not. So, like, what's better? What's better? Not celebrating Christmas and not getting anything anyway, or celebrating Christmas and
still not
hoping that you'll get something, but because you're broke, you're not getting anything at all. You know. Honestly, I feel like my parents, or at least my mom, was okay with not celebrating Christmas because, you know, it worked out.
That's
it worked
good.
out. But anyway, that was my experience. You know, for a long time, we had stopped celebrating Christmas, and I think it wasn't until like my 12th grade year, 12th grade high school. I remember I said, man, I don't know what it is about Christmas, especially like the Christmas classics, But I was like, I started listening to the Christmas classics from like maybe November,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just in like a heavy Christmas like spirit and a heavy
Dang.
Christmas flow. And I was just like, nah, like this is such a great time of the year. I'm not
Yeah.
going to like not celebrate this.
Yeah.
Um, and I was like, I don't like what is it like why does it matter that it was pagan and like
Mm-hmm.
what does that have to do with anything that we're doing? And
Yeah.
so I was rebelling a little bit. At the time because I didn't necessarily know if what I was doing was wrong or not.
Mm-hmm.
But I was
Listen
like,
to
this how
Jingle
I'm
Bells in your room
listen,
under the
man.
blanket.
Like, bro, like, dog, the Christmas song by Nat King Cole.
Uh-huh.
Um, chestnuts roasting on an open fire. Jack Frost nipping at your nose. Like, bro,
That's a
that
no-no
song
song,
had
bro. You can't be singing that
bro,
song.
that song had me in a chokehold. It had me in a chokehold, bro. Like that and Mr. Grinch. You're leaning on
Wow.
me, Mr. Grinch. Like, and it's just because it's such good music.
Were you
It's
watching like
such
Christmas specials underneath your blanket with like a light?
I
Just
didn't have to do all that. Like my mom didn't care. Like
okay.
she wasn't the type of like Adventist mom that was just like, oh, not in this house. No,
No
she didn't
Jingle
care.
Bells here. Yeah.
Like my mom was too stressed from work to be all in our faces like that. Like, so anyway, yeah, man, that's kind of sort of like
Interesting.
what my experience is like. And now that I'm a pastor, now that I have more understanding of the
Mm-hmm.
Bible and some of these cultural practices, I kind of sort of I do what I want, which we'll get into later on
Yeah.
as we're talking. But bro, I want to ask like, um, what was your experience like growing
Yeah.
up when it comes to Christmas? Was it similar to mine? Was
Yeah.
it different? How is Indian Christmas?
Wow.
That is a very responsible question. That's a very responsible
That's
question.
like borderline, like like racist, but I don't really care. It is not that much different. To It's not Indian Christmas. It's just Christmas. Like I was gonna say, like white Christmas. Like it's not that much different. Like
So like Black Christmas is a little different from White Christmas.
what's
Like,
what is Black Christmas, Jajuan?
bro, like at our parties, we don't play chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
So what do you play
Jack
for Christmas
Frost
then?
nipping. Uh,
Just normal.
this Christmas will be a very special Christmas.
Okay, okay.
Playing Fighting Temptations for Christmas.
Uh-huh.
Like I don't think you know anything about the Fighting Temptations
I I
Christmas album.
I
I don't
don't
think you.
I
I don't,
don't.
I don't
I
think you
don't. I
know.
don't. I don't. But
Like,
I've been to enough parties where it like in my mind I know what white Christmas looks like. It is everyone in sweaters, in like a half zip, walking around with a little eggnog and little like cookies. It's like clean. It's like the standard, like
I know.
classy, like up here in the movies, like Home Alone. Like there's a scene where everyone like that's like what when I think about what you mentioned, like I think like
Got to be an electric slide
yeah, like
at least
fun.
once.
Yeah.
You gotta feel it. It's electric. Woogie woogie woogie. Okay, good.
Like you're right. So there is an Indian Christmas. It's
Thank you. Thank you. Like even when we celebrated your birthday, like we did things that night, and I said I've never experienced this.
That's
Like in
actually
my
true.
culture, if I did
Yeah.
this would be called kind of gay. Like, and nothing against homosexuals at all. Like there was something that we did that night, and I said,
all right,
you
look,
know,
you're phrasing it real sketch, bro. Like what was it was feeding the cake, right? Was that the gay part that you're talking about? Or like pseudo What the heck is that? I don't remember that.
So like when it was one thing when his parents did it, and then they were like, "We're all gonna do it. We're all gonna
All
do
right.
it."
So a part of the tradition is that everyone feeds the person that has a birthday some cake. So they cut the cake, right? They sing happy birthday, right? And I guess the Indian part of it is that everyone takes a spoon and feeds the person, and they take a picture with them. Yeah. Yeah, and then you just kind of be the person, you know. Sometimes making eye contact is weird when they're feeding you. You know, like that's a weird place to be because they're giving you the spoon of food, of cake, and then you're just like, "Thank you."
It's one thing when it's your parent making eye contact. It's another thing when it's your friends
Yes,
making eye contact with you. And
but it's culture,
I I see, and this
and
is why
you did it
just
too.
I'm not gonna disrespect culture.
Yeah,
Like I'm
yeah.
not, I looked at you like intently. Why you I I was like, hey, I'm not gonna. I'm in the minority. I'm in the minority here. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna be the what. I'm not
yeah.
gonna like. I'm not gonna leave and then be like, can you believe that guy? Like,
Here, feed him
so
cake.
okay, okay. So all right. So talk to us about like what Christmas is like. For you and your family.
Christmas music is sometimes playing. More recently, like me and my cousin just watched football. To be honest, like we have the
Hmm.
games going on. Like Thanksgiving, Christmas is like a second Thanksgiving with presents.
Okay.
Where there's food on the table. We do it at my aunt's house. Everyone's wearing pajamas normally. And
Pajamas.
yeah, and then we have like game night, Christmas night, and then we have presents and everything else. Um,
Okay.
not that much different from Thanksgiving, from Indian Thanksgiving. Um, um,
You didn't have to call it Indian Thanksgiving. I didn't
I
think
know.
we were. I didn't think we were going to devolve into this. I didn't. I didn't think we were going to evolve into this. Like,
It's not that much different, but it's fun though, and we have the same because I think our cultures are conservative, right? So we have a the same pushback towards Christmas, where I'm not sure if you've ever been given that small book that has like all the different holidays and why we're not supposed to celebrate them. Like someone was passing them out at church back like in my home church. And like, you should celebrate this, this, and this, and this, and this, because and it even said like birthdays. And like I think my dad brought it home, and then I took it and I put it down, and I was like, this is crazy. Like, I'm sorry, like if you believe in that, but I was like, this is
this
crazy.
this is Adventism.
I was like, this is insane. And so even on my birthday, right? Like there were people there that were like, we should not be celebrating birthdays on the Sabbath, because then
Yeah,
you're celebrating yourself, and that's not what God wants us to do. And da, 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 da. And I was
that's
like,
how
I was
that's how
like,
they took it.
I was like, it's my birthday, and we're gonna celebrate because it's my birthday. We won't celebrate your birthday, but we'll do mine.
Like when your time of the year gets here, all right.
I'll
You
forget
won't get a
about it.
happy birthday from me. You
You
won't
won't
get a
get,
card
you
from
won't get
me.
nothing.
You won't get a gift. Listen, like
I'll
you,
eat your cake. Yeah,
like
yeah.
I'll buy the cake and I'll eat it in your face.
Man, but you're right, man. Like it's the same thing too, right? I think at
Yeah.
one point we're more like even when they try to put Christmas trees in my home church, people were like,
Hmm.
why are Christmas trees going on in the church? It's not supposed to be Christmas. It's pagan. We're literally bringing Satan into the sanctuary and the demonic spirits in the sanctuary, and we want to worship with these idols and things in the street, and then you got to go up and you
Idols
got
is
to decorate
crazy,
them,
bro.
and then is that what Jesus wants to walk into church with? And I was just
Oh
like,
man.
I gotta be honest though, as a
Mhm.
kid, I was way more prone to believing those things because
Yes.
because I it was coming from the people that were around me and teaching, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if it was in a book, I was like, well, they took the time to write it, they printed it, and they bought the book. So I was like, there's no way the government allows false information in a book. So I was like, it has to be true, right? So I was like, dang, I was like, I guess no Christmas, like no Halloween, no like no all these things. And then the older I got, I was like, hey, this kind of is weird. So like how did you process through that? Like, because like we both celebrate Christmas, just to be clear. Okay.
So like, like, I mean, the Adventist church, like, I think like many churches that have good intentions, like they give you a lot of different ideas. Like I remember, because of my church, I think I did not like science, like, because like the way
the scientific process.
Like, bro, I actually understand why some people like leave our church and they say like, wow, like I'm happy I'm no longer Christian, right? Because like my church literally made me think that science was bad. Like, because they made it seem as though that, like, because science taught evolution theory, the evolutionary theory, right? They taught that, hey, we're creationists. We don't believe in evolution at all, And so we've talked about this offline, And so for the people who might judge me for what I'm about to say, like, I'm Adventist, all right, okay. So, like,
hold on, I want to
my church.
I want to put you in full screen so you can say this. Go ahead.
All right, so like growing up, when I was a kid at my church, I used to love this movie called Land Before Time. Now, if you were alive at that time, you know that Land Before Time, like, it was a chain of movies about dinosaurs. And listen, I was so addicted to this series, okay, that I watched all the Land Before Times, from the first one where Littlefoot's parents died, all right, all the way to like Land Before Time number 11 or number 12. And then I go to church one day and I get this rude awakening from one of my elders that dinosaurs never existed, that it was a lie from scientists who are simply trying to prove that God is not real and that God did not create the earth. They said that dinosaurs were simply a part of the evolutionary theory. And rather than dinosaurs being real, I talked to Elijah about this. What they shared is that the bones that came together to form what we understand as dinosaur bones are actually a bunch of mixed together bones, right? That were tossed around and rearranged due to the flood. And as a kid, that makes a lot of sense. That God destroyed the world with a flood. Yes, that is what your Bible says. Just read between chapters 5 to like chapters 8 or 9
in Genesis,
and you'll see that God he flooded the world. Like rain fell from heaven, like
water came out of the ground.
It came up out. It didn't just come up out of the ground. It wasn't like dew.
Right.
Like, you gotta imagine it was shooting up. It was shooting up.
Right.
Like he was murking people. He was just like, sinners, y'all gotta go.
Yeah.
Y'all gotta go.
Yeah.
And so, like, as you can imagine, like, things are crazy during this time. Like, you got water everywhere, and likely, it's like a huge storm. So the winds are probably going real strong. And so they said, hey, what makes more sense for us as believers, because we want to ensure that we don't people don't have the idea that God is not real. No, what ends up happening is just that these bones that scientists have found are actually just it's a hippo and a giraffe that whose body parts somehow came together, and now it's a long neck,
a hippo giraffe, a T-Rex,
and now we got a T-Rex, which is a what animals can make up a T-Rex? I have no idea.
I have no idea. A T-Rex,
like, and yeah, whatever 3 or 4 creatures, small arms, long tail,
That
crazy
skull.
teeth.
Yeah.
You got the teeth of a lion. You got the head of a donkey.
Yeah.
The
arms.
got the arms of a human, and you got the body of. You got the bottom of an elephant.
Yeah,
the bottom of an elephant.
That makes the most sense. That makes the most sense.
And you got the top of a zebra.
Yep.
And that's how we got the T-Rex.
The T-Rex.
Right? And that's what they said. And so as a child, you kind of sort of believe a number of these things. Now, I went to grad school, and
it sounds like you did.
They still maintain that dinosaurs did not exist.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Like in our it was Issues of Origins course. Like they were teaching us the different the different positions that individuals have. And I remember, they held
Montana?
that it was the other professor who came in, the archaeologist. And he was identifying that, there are clues that point to the fact that there are certain inconsistencies with certain bones
that's true.
that were found, and how certain bones have certain structures, while other bones that were found together, have different ones. And so they were saying that you can't conclusively say that they're all from the same organism.
Right.
But more likely, they were put there due to like all the tossing and turning from the flood and stuff like that. And so I'm not saying that I know all the answers.
Mm-hmm.
But
interesting.
I don't want a person to hurt my feelings because of Land Before Time. So I'm okay with dinosaurs existing if it's for the sake of Land Before Time. But anyway, I was really hurt, and I really believe our adventist people, like Christmas, rather than celebrating the birth of Jesus Christ, we literally had like sermons, like messages on why it was pagan.
Yeah.
Like I remember like them, like it felt like some crazy conspiracy type stuff.
Really?
Bro. Like where they would talk about like Ishtar from Babylon and how that impacted what would later happen later on in Greek and Roman culture, and how it all started with there. They would say that Ishtar is really like the person as to how we got like Easter. Yeah. And like they talked about those
Ishtar, Easter.
like yeah. And they said that the Mother Mary that a lot of the Catholics celebrate, because like for some odd reason Adventists got like a vendetta against the Catholics. They say that no, the Mother Mary is not like the Mary we know, but is actually Ishtar, because the same way that Ishtar was supposed to have a son. It was weird because I think it was like she had a husband who died or something like that, and then became God or something. I could be messing all this up. All this up.
Man,
but
I'm into it.
I think it's been years since I heard this stuff. So it's kind of all like mumbo jumbo.
Yeah.
Right. But and if I mess this up, we can come back another time and we can correct it. But it was, I think Ishtar's husband died, right? And when he died, I think he became a god. And what was supposed to happen is he was supposed to come back as man. And so Ishtar had this son. And so they were saying that, like, in the way that Mother Mary and Jesus, was a Christian form, they were saying that Ishtar and whatever the baby was supposed to be the pagan form of what they were celebrating back in the day. And so, like, I don't know if you ever watched like the Truth Behind Hip Hop videos when you were younger, where they used to talk about how like hip hop is Illuminati. It felt like those types of vibes. It felt like those types of vibes.
Yeah.
Right. Some dark stuff. And you know, I remember specifically there was a church in Baltimore called Cherry Hill SDA Church, right? Pastor Prevet, Dwayne Prevet was the pastor of it.
Mhm.
And listen, like Elijah, you got to listen to this.
I am.
They put a Christmas tree in their church.
Oh,
right?
No.
All of Baltimore was like, what? Putting a Christmas tree in your church? What is the Adventist church coming to? Understand this.
The
What
gall.
ends up happening, bro, is that their church gets burned down. And I think it was because something happened with the tree where there was like an electrical issue and it caught on fire. And so because this happened, it further like confirmed for several people. It further confirmed for several people that it was a sign that we as Adventists should not be celebrating Christmas. I hope I'm not conflating. I hope I'm not mixing stories together.
That's
but
insane.
I remember like it was yesterday that individual said, see, they put the Christmas tree in the church.
Testing God.
In the church. And yeah, and they lost their church. They lost their church.
Wow, dude, that's insane.
Bro, like I kind of sort of drunk the Kool-Aid, and I was like, all right, it's a pagan holiday. Like, if it's pagan, that means that as Christians, we can't participate in the activities.
Yeah.
Like, Santa's not real anyway. I'm broke anyway. Like, everyone needs to have a bad Christmas now. So,
God, let all the trees burn down. In all the churches.
We all get cold. So yeah, that's I'm joking in many ways, but like that's what it was like for me.
Yeah.
It was one of those things where it's like I did not understand it, I did not get it. And there was even frustration around it. But it was kind of sort of one of those things that you just say, hey, I mean, if this is how it is, I guess this is what has to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what it was like for me.
Like I never believed in Santa. Like no one.
I was a dumb kid.
No one in my what?
I was a dumb kid.
You believed in Santa Claus?
Maybe until I was in kindergarten, and then my brother was like, "Santa Claus is not real, dummy," and I said, "Dang."
Did you write letters to Santa Claus?
I don't remember. I don't think so, though. I don't think so.
Did you leave? And milk out for Santa?
I think I made a Christmas list, and I was, let down when they didn't. That happened.
When none of it came.
When none of it came. None of it came. Wait, I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can hear that I'm getting a call.
I can, and I gotta go too soon.
My secretary gave me a call.
We'll be right back. We'll be right back.
And so, listen, I think that's like a great place for us to really kind of sort of talk, because here's the thing. I don't remember some of it, and so really take what I just said with a grain of salt. I know that some of the names and stuff like that are accurate, but I don't remember some of the mythology of some of the Babylonian religion. And so take what I said with a grain of salt. But I do know that we got into it during this time of the year. Like, rather than, and as a pastor now, I kind of sort of see this malpractice.
Yeah.
Instead of focusing on the birth of Jesus Christ, right, and really celebrating that, and what that meant for us, as humans, instead of focusing on that and the uplifting act that is, you rather instead this is like what focusing on the wrong thing looks like. And as a person who has preached things, who's preached sermons, where it's just I look back and I said, that wasn't necessary. Like we didn't need that. We didn't need that.
Yeah.
As a person who's done that and know, like I could look back and I can say we missed an amazing opportunity
Yeah.
to truly win some individuals over to Christ because we were so concerned about being wrong, or
Yeah.
we were so concerned about the dangers of this holiday. And so, yeah. What do you think?
You're right. We're talking about Christmas specifically, but I think it applies to every kind of holiday or
Yeah.
birthday or any type of thing that people say, oh, we shouldn't be doing as Christians. Like I think specifically for Christmas, for Easter too, right? Like we can't do those things because it represents or it comes from this pagan idea of what, and then we've appropriated it into Christianity. And we were
Hmm.
talking about this before we started recording to kind of prep for this episode. It's like Christians can appropriate cultural elements from cultures, right? Like we didn't enter into Christianity devoid of our cultures, right? Like we brought something into
So true.
like it's, and I think one of the reasons that we're kind of seeing a pushback to Christianity is because unintentionally or maybe even intentionally, some of the reasons that colonialism is tied in with the spread of Christianity is because it was a spread of European culture, and especially in India, right? It was a spread of how to worship and not to worship. Where even in the churches, in Adventist churches, right? Like you won't see them playing drums in the church, but when you go outside, right, and it's cultural music, drums are totally fine, and dancing is fine outside. But when it comes to church service, none of that is cool, and it's because we've been trained and kind of downloaded European worship cultures, right, and styles of worship, where it's kind of permeated. So we talk about now Easter, right, Christmas. It's almost as if it's like you have to change some of the underlying parts of other cultures, like um as I was reading some stuff, there was a idea of in Ireland they do a Catholic festival, and what the author was saying is in Ireland, even though it's a Catholic festival, Protestants still go through, right? They go through the festival. They don't partake in the mass and in the religious aspects of the stuff, but they pick up the food from the vendors. They go and buy gifts. Like they go and they're a part of it, but they're not celebrating it by taking a part of the religious practices that is going on there. But then what's interesting is that the author then went, "Hey, but if you go to a religious festival where some of the practices are tied into the religious thing, like in the Indian culture, right? Oh, you can't be doing that." So I was like, wait, what's the like why is it okay and in a European context, it's okay to go to the festival, but when it comes to another culture, it's not okay. And that's the part that always gets me is I mean, we're talking about Easter, we're talking about Christmas, Halloween, falls in, I think, for me, at the end of the list. But we're talking about like Diwali. We're talking about some other festivals that happen even in Eastern Europe, in Asia, in China. Like there are a lot of things that happen. And what's interesting is that even in Indian Christians, Protestants go to the Diwali um, festival, but they don't celebrate in the same manner. And what I
Yeah.
mean by that is that they're not throwing, the colors and stuff. Some do, right? It's tied into a practice.
Mhm.
But they buy gifts, they buy food, they buy presents, and it's just a part of the culture to celebrate. And you brought up a great point before this episode, talking about how even in the Bible, the Israelites appropriated some of the cultures that were around them. They took it and then they made and then God had a way of instilling within them the practices that he was prescribing to them. So, man, like you mentioned a few things. I know you mentioned the priesthood and you mentioned other stuff.
Yeah. So, like, premise is this. Of course, as a lot of Adventists don't celebrate Christmas, and they also don't celebrate Easter. I don't even know if they celebrate Valentine's Day, things like that. But as it relates to, like, let's say Christmas, of course, many people don't celebrate Halloween in any form.
Right.
Even in the most commercialized or consumerist way of simply putting on a costume.
Yeah.
Like, we say that individuals are sinning even if kids are just putting on costumes and going to people's house and getting candy. Yeah. Like, in my opinion, that's it's I'm trying not to get upset. Like, because it just has nothing at all to do with the concerns that individuals can have. But getting to Christmas, right? I think it's imperative kind of to talk about the importance of appropriating. Because yes, we did talk about this beforehand. And the truth is that God, he appropriates certain things and cultures, and he creates a new meaning for his people.
That's it. Yeah.
We see this in Genesis when Abraham, if you remember, I believe it was Genesis chapter 16. He and Sarah had decided to have their servant, their concubine, Hagar, have a baby on behalf of them. What ends up happening is that Hagar, she gets pregnant. She has Ishmael. The problem is that apparently she got too big for her britches.
Yeah.
Can't have a slave in the house, thinking that she's better than the woman of the house, the matriarch of the house. And so what ends up happening is Sarah gets upset. She says, "Hey, Abraham, this is your fault, buddy. This is your fault, guy. It wasn't me. You're the one who made the child with her. You're the man of the house. And so because you're the man of the house, I need you to put her out." He puts her out. Her and her child. Like, Ishmael ain't grown.
Yeah.
They kicked both of them out of the house. And so what we find is that after kicking them out of the house, God, he intervenes. He blesses her. He makes sure that Hagar and Ishmael are covered. However, God had to go back and he said to Abraham, "Hey, since you are not remembering the covenant that I've made with you, I want you to do something and act for me. I want you and every other male within your household to do this act, and it will be a sign of the covenant that I have between you and me. Yeah. I will indeed bring a seed to you. And this sign, when you do it, it will be a reminder. It will be a reminder to you as well as your descendants that I am going to do what I am indeed saying.
Yeah.
Not only will I give you a descendant, but this is a promise that the Savior of humanity will indeed come." And so what is this promise, or what is this practice? Circumcision. Circumcision was an act. It was a practice that was already being done in society at the time. It's not something that Christians made up, that or Hebrews made up. It was something that was done by many different people in society for health reasons.
Right.
However, for the purpose of God's people and his covenant, he appropriated circumcision as a practice specifically for his people. Yeah. And so, yes, there are several groups of people who are doing this. However, God said, when you do this, it's going to mean this.
Right.
And so, to the point that you were making about Exodus and the priesthood, we see God also appropriate practices within the Egyptian kingdom. Because as many of you who are listening know, the Israelites were in Egypt for over 400 years. Exodus tells us that they were in Egypt for approximately 430 years.
Yeah.
That's a long time. And so understand this, like most theocracies, Egypt had its own religion. And along with its religion, it had a system of sacrifices. It had a system of priests. And so what the Israelites had come to learn during their 430 years of being in Egypt was the Egyptian pagan priesthood system.
Right.
They had priests. They were making sacrifices to their false gods. They
Right.
were doing it. Okay. And so they had become indoctrinated in that. And so what we see God introduce later in the chapter and later in the book of Exodus and explicitly in the book of Leviticus is the Levitical priesthood. Okay. Mm-hmm. Up until this point, we don't see a priesthood system that is this intricate. We don't see a priesthood system in Genesis that is this intentional. Yes, individuals were making sacrifices, and they were making sacrifices to be a sign of the sacrifice that God would one day make for his people and for humanity as a whole. However, this is like what God instituted in Leviticus, what God had instituted towards the end of Exodus was a Levitical priesthood system that was an appropriation of what they had learned in Egypt.
Right.
Because in Egypt, the Egyptians had a very intricate system of pagan rituals.
Right.
They had a very intricate system. And so God, being an individual who was trying to build on top of what they already know, but correct certain things, he was identifying, hey, this practice that they were doing in Egypt, that was correct.
Right.
It like because all it is an amalgamation of what we were already doing. The only difference is that my people were making sacrifices to the true God, and they were making sacrifices to the wrong gods, false gods. So the idea of sacrificing was right, but how they went about doing it was incorrect. It was completely incorrect. And so they came up with a system that was based on an amalgamation, or what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? A distorted. There we go. It was a distorted view of what God had intended. And so what God did was he built on the system and he appropriated the system that they had learned in Egypt for his use. And so rather than the Israelites, the Hebrews being familiar with the Egyptian priesthood system, God now introduced the Levitical priesthood system to them, where they were doing a number of the same actions, but now they were doing it with new meaning. If we take that practice, right? If we take this understanding, this principle, what it lets us know is that it's not simply what you do, but it's why you do it that is more important. Like there are several individuals who do certain things in scripture that are questionable. There are several individuals who do things that will possibly make you scratch your head a little bit.
Why?
And then the question that you have to ask is, well, what's the intent? Because you know there are individuals who have killed in the name of Jesus. However, there's a difference between a person who kills to save and a person who kills just for malicious intent. It's two completely different things. One God condones, the other
is
God
called sin.
Yes. And so, we must keep this in mind, because the truth is that God can take anything. God can take anything and immediately begin to use it for his work.
Right. And what's interesting too is that if the Old Testament kind of examples are not enough for those that are listening, the New Testament has a lot of great examples of Paul, right? He's literally walking through a pagan festival and temple in the New Testament. And it's not like, he's thinking about it and writing it down. No, he was in the space looking at the idols, right? So it's not like he was somewhere else when he was talking to them and saying, hey, this the God that you're calling the invisible God it is the true God, right? He's in the temple speaking with them as they're going through the worship services. And what's interesting to me, and I'm not sure if you kind of agree with it too, bro, is that when some people are talking about why they don't celebrate some things, why they don't do some things or go some places, it for me takes away the power of the God that we worship. It's like it's like they give power over to those things and say, hey, if I go in there, right, then I'm giving power to that thing or that person over me. And first of all, right, Paul in his example knew that all those gods didn't exist, right?
Yes.
Like he said, they have no power or control over me. So I can go and I can walk into space and I could point out and say, hey, this is the God that is the God above all gods. And he's saying it in a way that is respectful. He didn't say all your gods don't exist, right? He was like, hey, this is the God that is above all gods. So you can believe that there are minor things here and there, but he's calling you to worship the one above all. And it's interesting because if we make that same argument here today, right, into cultures that believe multiple gods exist, right, it's almost as if we're talking about Christmas specifically because we're on that day.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about Halloween too, right? It's like we're depriving about what Paul also says. He says we are more than conquerors. And that's like the verse that always pops up into my mind. We're talking about Christians appropriating some things, is that he says we are more than conquerors. And this is me kind of reading into the text a bit. It's not the contextual meaning because he's talking about we're more than conquerors of da-da-da-da-da. But in his theology, as he's talking about it, there is an element of conquering in our faith where we take things, and as we bring them to Christ then cleanses them, right? And that's a form of conquering them. And I'm thinking about Christmas, the pagan roots that it has. I don't think either of us are denying that some of the festivals and holidays come from pagan roots. Like there's, I'm not sure if we're both denying that they've started in other cultures that were absent of Christ.
What I'm saying is who cares? Like, because I don't think individuals actually discuss implications.
Yeah.
Like, the question is, well, okay, it started with pagan roots. How does that impact me? Like, how does that impact what I do today? Like, so, am I, worshiping any of the gods that they have or that they submitted themselves to? And the way that we celebrate Christmas today, is it the same practices that they were using back then? Because as far as I'm concerned, the way that, let's say, Christmas is celebrated here in America, it is a consumerist, it is a capitalistic driven.
It's a religion by itself, to be honest. It's like a completely different religion at this point.
Like, I don't want to put a religion in it because it's not even about religion.
Yeah.
Like, for America, it's just about making money.
Yeah.
Like, it's about tricking people into thinking that things are on sale, probably when it's not. It's just a ploy to get poor people to spend money, like so that the rich can get richer. That is truly what it is.
It is.
Like, and if the good news is that if individuals want to make it more holistic, they'll have family get-togethers. They'll give gifts and receive gifts. They may even serve in some capacity, serve the homeless or help the less fortunate out. And so if that's the case, what is it that we do today that is connected explicitly with what individuals
Let me tell you
early on? Yeah.
So this is because I read that little book, right?
Okay.
And they cut down trees and brought it into their home.
Remember, the question is, what was the intent behind what they were using? Because we can't just say, oh well, they brought trees into their home. Like, so okay, they brought trees into their home. Like, we bring plants into our home too. Are you telling me I can't bring a plant? you telling me I can't have a bonsai tree in my house now?
That's
because
Japanese, bro.
Like, I can't bring a bonsai tree in my house in December cause it might have some pagan roots.
Man,
some pagan roots.
Man, I'm gonna clip this, and you're gonna get in a lot of trouble. I'm with you, man. It causes a lot of cognitive dissonance. I think that's the word, right? When people step into the church and they see us talking about some of these topics and ideas of why we can't, of why we should not do certain things, it definitely reminds me of the dinosaur argument, where it starts off with an idea and then it goes to spaces and places. The extent that they take it to is then, oh, dinosaurs never existed, right? It's just like I understand where you're coming from and the angst of why we shouldn't do it and be careful around it, right? And make sure that our intent is correct. But the places that they take it is then devoids us of really the best opportunity to talk about Jesus. Like the world is prime right now to talk about Jesus, and you're not taking the best opportunity. And then Easter too, it's like, hey, it started with pagan roots, but now it's become a opportunity for evangelism. I think that's where I took it at. Yeah.
So here it is. All right. I looked it up to see, at least for the truth. This is me being serious.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna read what it says, and we're gonna talk about the differences and how important it is for us not to be black and white.
Yeah.
Right. Because a lot of individuals within a Christian church at times get caught up because they want to be black and white. And if that's what you do, I think that's okay.
Yeah, we're not
like, I just want to let you know that individuals will not miss out on heaven because they're more nuanced and they're gray. Because there are several things within scripture that are very gray. And I think that this is one of those topics that's pretty gray. So here it is. All right. So Christmas tree decorating. We've taken a lot from the Romans, and tree decorating is just another borrowed tradition. During Saturnalia, which is the practice, the festival, Romans feasted, drank, and exchanged gifts. Very similar to what we did or what we do, right? They also hung small metal ornaments on trees outside their homes. But here's the important thing that we got to notice. These little ornaments represented a god, Saturn, or the family's personal patron saint. So what we find is that early Germanic tribes practiced a similar tree decorating tradition with fruits and candles to honor the god Odin throughout the winter solstice. Yule, another festival, also involved tree decorating traditions. Christians seem to have merged tree decorating with ornaments, candles, and fruits to make Christmas tree decorating one extravagant tradition. And so Christmas trees symbolize the blending of secular and religious traditions, particularly in non-Western societies that have adopted the secular aspects of Christmas. They also address the debates around their pagan roots and acceptance of Christian practices. And so understand this, even though like there's obviously a pagan root in this, Elijah, I think that how we use certain things, how we go about using or the intention behind why we're doing certain things, it matters so much.
It does.
Because when we're decorating a tree, we're not like, Aphrodite.
Yeah.
Oh, Mars.
Yeah.
Oh, Zeus.
Yeah.
I worship you all.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Like we're like, oh, these
popcorn.
These nice little popcorn ornaments. That's nice and cute.
Yeah.
These little booties.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Cute.
Yeah.
Like it's completely different.
Yeah.
There's no religious meaning.
Yeah.
Unless you ascribe religious meaning
to it.
Like if you ascribe religious meaning to it, you are likely going to put maybe some angels up there. You're likely going to put like some your ornaments that may look like whatever version of Jesus you subscribe to. Black Jesus, white Jesus, Indian Jesus, whatever.
Thanks for not leaving me out, man. I appreciate that.
Like, I've seen it all. I've seen a bunch of different types of Jesuses.
Yeah.
But it truly is about how we use what we use. And I think that like this is like an excellent opportunity for us to really talk about Romans chapter 14. But before we do, I know you got something that you want to say.
Like right before that, because I think that is the place to start to kind of give people this is it, right? Like this is kind of how we both look at it. When we're talking about exactly what you said, it's the intention. There are some things that God has clearly stated, right? That's like, hey, I want you to stay away from child sacrifice, right? Like it's not a gray area, right? Where God's like, hey, this thing before me is abhorrent and I don't want you to do it under any circumstances, right? Like he does not give any wiggle room for child sacrifice. He's like, no. He's like, and if you see anyone do it too, right? Like you have to go and correct it and end it immediately. So there are some things where God is just like this is the line, don't cross it. But it's interesting that as we kind of look through scripture, and even Paul, as he's relating with people, he's like, hey, God understands that we are, and he has given us culture as a tool to understand our world. And the culture that God gave the Israelites was one of celebrating and festivals. So they had moon festivals, they had everything that, if we honestly think about it, sometimes we kind of ascribe some of those terminology to astrology, right? Oh, the half moon, like we got this, we got the harvest festival here, and then we're like, oh no, we can't be doing all these things because they go along with the moon. But what's interesting is that God's like, no, hey, I want you to celebrate in life and mark important times in the calendar.
And dude, I love that you bring this up, because like the Israelites, the Jews, Semites, they were amazing at celebrating the several different things that God had done for them. And I think it's important for us to do the same thing. Like we even have communion. We even have communion because Jesus said, "Do this and remember." Like Jesus was continuing the Semitic culture,
right?
Of like picking up certain practices and certain celebrations when something impactful is about to happen. And so Jesus, like, he honored Semitic culture,
right,
by creating like communion, what we call communion today, of eating the bread and drinking the what we typically drink is just juice. Drinking juice. Some Christians may drink real alcohol. God bless you. God bless you. But where we do that, and we do it in remembrance of him, it's a celebration of his sacrifice. And so if that's the case, right, like we have the capacity, Elijah, we have the capacity to do everything to the glory of God. Scripture tells us in the New Testament, hey, whatever you do it to the glory of God.
Drink, do like the glory of God.
Whatever. And so because of that, we can create a celebration. Like we can create something, anything. We can appropriate something, anything, so that it is for the glory of God.
Right.
Now, what I'm not saying is go up there and kill people and say, I'm doing it for the glory of God. No.
To God be the glory. Yeah.
I'm not saying go out and like do the extremes.
Right.
Like no, I'm talking about you can have a get together, and it's not sin. It's a party that you're doing to celebrate community. It's to celebrate being on one accord. It's something simple like that. It's like you can do these things.
Yeah, like it's a combination of knowing your Bible and common sense, right? Like the Bible.
Common sense not so common these days.
It's what like I've heard the argument. Oh, if we do that, then people will know that we don't worship God, and then I'm just like, huh? Like there are like we don't live in a pagan society where if we go and get a tree, we're identifying with paganism, right?
Bro, like Christians are so afraid of objects. What you just talked about, it at the root it's an optics issue.
It is. And I gotta say, right now in America, right, in our context, it's not a image issue, right? Like there's no image issue there because it does not identify us with anything else, right? But it does make sense if you're in a culture where let's say wearing purple, right, identifies you with a certain sect of a religion, right? In that culture, it makes sense if you're a Christian, common sense, don't wear purple, right? Because that didn't identifies you with them, right? That makes sense. And it also applies with what the Bible says, right? To be like, man, Jajuan, I'm not sure how else to say it, man. Like, it's a mixture.
I don't think there really is any other way to say it. I think like if an individual is willing to be open, to being a little bit more balanced, they'll be receptive to it. If not, like no matter what we say, they're not going to like necessarily change their mind. Yeah. And I don't think it's our job. It's not my job to change their mind. Like no. I'm good. I don't like yeah. I believe heaven is. I know that heaven is something that we have access to. Mm-hmm. And us celebrating Christmas is not a problem. And if a person does not believe that, Romans chapter 14. Go.
You
know? So here's what it says, reading from the English Standard Version. It says this, starting at verse 1. As for the one who is weak in the faith.
Mm-hmm.
Key, as for one who is weak in the faith. Welcome him, but not to quarrel over opinions.
Mm-hmm.
This is a situation where opinions is really heavy.
Yeah.
Okay. It says one person believes he may eat anything,
mm-hmm.
while the weak person, here it is, the weak person eats only vegetables.
Yeah.
So understand that the weak person is not the individual who eats anything, who just eats anything. The weak person is the individual who only eats vegetables.
Yep.
So if we're relating it to this situation, the weak person is not the individual who celebrates Christmas. The weak person is the individual who refuses to acknowledge Christmas, Easter, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, Valentine's Day,
mm-hmm.
whatever it is, okay? That just relating, that is who he's referring to. Paul is referring to as the weak in faith.
Right.
Okay? All right, it says, verse 3, let not the one who eats despise the one who abstains. And let not the one who abstains pass judgment on the one who eats. One more time. One more time. Let not the one who eats despise the one who abstains.
Yeah.
And let not the one who abstains pass judgment on the one who eats. For God has welcomed. I love how like the Bible like just has a great way of telling on culture.
Yeah.
Because this is typically what happens.
Yeah.
Because the people who celebrate Christmas typically get upset. They get upset at the individuals who abstain and who are judgmental, and we despise them. We typically despise them because they're extremely judgmental.
We pass judgment. It's
no. Hear me. Us who celebrate Christmas, we typically get upset and are frustrated with the super Christians, who abstain from Christmas.
I'm saying the super Christians pass judgment.
Yeah, and
it's both ways.
And I'm saying that this is what the text. Because listen, verse 3: let not the one who eats despise the one who abstains.
Yeah.
So typically, there's tension for believers who there's tension for believers who do celebrate Christmas. Mm-hmm. They have tension with the believers who choose not to celebrate. And it's typically there's typically tension because the believers who don't celebrate Christmas often judge the Christians who do celebrate.
Yep.
And so it's kind of sort of like, the Republicans and Democrats, right? It's a lot of individuals who voted for Trump who judge Democrats.
Yep.
However, there are a lot of Democrats, especially in the Christian space, who despise.
Hate, dude. I don't even say hate. I even say hate.
And so, verse 4: Who are you to pass judgment on the servant of another? It is before his own master that he stands or falls. And he will be upheld, for the Lord is able to make him stand. One person esteems one day as better than another, while another esteems all days alike. Each one should be fully convinced in his own mind. One more time. Each one should be fully convinced in his own mind. Okay? The one who observes the day observes it in honor of the Lord. The one who eats in honor of the Lord, since he gives thanks to God. While the one who abstains in honor of the Lord and gives thanks to God. For none of us lives to himself, and none of us dies to himself. For if we live to the Lord. And if we die to the Lord. Whether we live or whether we die, we are the Lord's. For to this end, Christ died and lived again, that he might be Lord, both of the dead and living. And so, why do you pass judgment on your brother? Or why do you despise? For we will all stand before the judgment seat of God. For it is written, as I live, says the Lord, every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess to God. So then, each of us will give an account of himself to God. And so, we got to keep reading. Want to make sure we get as much scripture in there. Don't want anyone to say we talk about spiritual topics, but we not use the Bible. All right, let me stop being mean. All right, so verse 13. Therefore, let us not pass judgment on one another any longer, but rather decide never to put a stumbling block or a hindrance in the way of a brother. I know and am persuaded in the Lord Jesus that nothing is unclean in itself. One more time. I know and am persuaded in the Lord Jesus that nothing is unclean in itself, because he's talking about meat. All right? But it is unclean for anyone who thinks it's unclean. For if your brother is grieved by what you eat, you are no longer walking in love. By what you eat, do not destroy the one whom Christ died. So do not let what you regard as good be spoken of as evil. For the kingdom of God is not a matter of eating and drinking, but of righteousness and peace and joy and the Holy Spirit. Whoever thus serves Christ is acceptable to God and approved by men. So then, let us pursue what makes for peace and not for mutual upbuilding. Okay, so I'm gonna stop there, and I would like to encourage you to continue to read the rest of the chapter. There's only like 3 verses.
You stopped in verse 4. The kingdom of God is not a matter of eating and drinking, because of serving. Verse 19.
Verse 19. It's only like 4 verses left.
Therefore, let us make every effort to do what leads to peace and to mutual edification. Do not destroy the work of God for the sake of food. All food is clean, but it is wrong for a person to eat anything that causes someone else to stumble.
Oh, that's it.
It is better not to eat meat or drink wine or to do anything else that will cause your brother or sister to fall. And that's a challenge. So whatever you believe about these things, keep between yourself and God. Blessed the one who does not condemn himself by what he approves, but whoever has doubts is condemned if they eat, because their eating is not from faith, and everything does not come from faith is sin. And I love how Paul in the scripture, man, he's really challenging those that have different opinions. Like, he's challenging both sides. He's not leaving one side out of the equation and saying, hey, like, you don't have to do anything here. He's saying the base level is that he wants to keep community. Like, he's like, hey, like, there might be agreements, and he's talking about meat in this context, but there might be disagreements on some opinions, right? But he's saying your overall goal is to stay in community.
Yeah.
Is to keep talking with each other. And oftentimes, man, when we talk about Christmas, like I think we talked about how some people won't come into church if there's a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like the Spirit of God can't sit on an evergreen.
I think here's my thing though, right? The question becomes, because this is like Christmas is not as black and white as like the foods that these, and like Paul is speaking to a legitimate issue where,
right,
like the food that he's speaking to, the meat that he's speaking to, are meats that they would sacrifice to pagan gods in Rome. All right, that's like that's really what he's speaking to. And some is like, yo, I don't eat any meat at all. Like they're trying to say as pure as possible.
Right.
While other individuals are like, yo, it's just meat. Like I am not connected. I am not in any way connected to any of the Roman gods, any of the Greek gods that the Romans acknowledge either.
Right.
It's just meat. For us, the question has to be, one, do we think that celebrating Christmas is a sin?
Mm-hmm.
And if we think celebrating Christmas is a sin, then the question really becomes, what about it is sinning against God? Like, what sin are we committing?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's one thing.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to be a stumbling block to another individual. But the question is what sin are you committing if we're celebrating Christmas? Because I can't tell you what sin we're committing if we're celebrating Christmas. I can't.
There are probably people that are listening now that are thinking about that verse in Jeremiah where it's talking about cutting down a tree and bringing it into like there are some like sparse verses that they'll bring up in the Old Testament, and a lot of it is out of context.
Please do not proof text me. I think we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
Like, don't just try to get a Bible verse to prove that you are right.
Right.
Like, do not take the Bible out of its context.
Right.
God does not need you to do that. His word stands firm on its own.
And I think a lot of it is projection onto the holiday and how we celebrate it, where we can't really find and identify the sin. Like we can't, because it's not idolatry, right?
No.
We're not setting up an idol, right? No. Because all throughout the year we're not worshiping a tree, right? Like none of us are struggling not praying to a tree, right? Or buying trees, right? Like, so it's not idolatry, it's not worship, right? It's not unclean in the sense of there's really no restrictions in the Bible, right?
And so I say this, bro, because this whole do not be a stumbling block to another believer. The only reason why this matters is if what you are challenging a person in doing, right? Or what you are doing is something that one of your fellow believers actually struggles with.
Right.
Like let's say it's drinking, right? Let's say an individual struggles with drinking. It makes sense that you don't drink around them. You don't put drinks in front of them.
Right.
Like, cause like when they have an attachment to that thing that can lead them away from God.
Yeah.
But if Christmas was never something that became an idol, because that's the only sin that it can become, an idol. If it's not something that was hindering you in your walk with Christ,
right,
then this is no stumbling block.
Yeah.
I don't have to be concerned for you.
Man, I'm laughing because the only stumbling block that I can think of right now is gifts. Like, you're addicted to spending money, and you're addicted to buying things, right? And you use Christmas as an opportunity, right?
Yeah.
Right. But then that could go to birthdays, right? That could go to just stay away from holidays, right? Yeah. Right. Like it. I think it is balanced where, hey, if you don't want to celebrate Christmas, don't celebrate it, right? Yeah. But don't miss the opportunity that's there to celebrate Jesus, yes. Right? If you want to celebrate Christmas, celebrate it, right? But make sure that, again, we're keeping the main thing. That's Jesus, right? Yeah. Like, in both sides, we're coming to the same foundation of it's Christ, and we're doing it to glorify and honor him.
And here's the thing. If you are doing something in the Christmas spirit, right, that goes against God anyway.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, one, I think that means that you're adding things to the holiday season.
Right.
Right.
It's not jingle bells anymore and chestnuts roasting.
It's not baking cookies and spending time with family. Like, it means that you're legitimately adding extra things, like to this experience. Like, no one is saying that Christmas means you gotta get high, you gotta get drunk out of your mind. Right. Like, no. If that is what you're doing,
that might be a them thing. Yeah, it's not. Like, it's not what we're saying.
Like, so like, if you're using this holiday to go and be promiscuous, like that, you're involving extra things in this.
Right.
Like, you can indeed celebrate Christmas and keep Christ at the center.
Yeah. And I think that's where the proponents of those that say don't celebrate Christmas are I think missing it. At least those that I've talked to, is that we're not putting the Christmas tree at the center of the celebration. It's an element on the side, right? Just for like the kids and for pictures mostly, right? But at the center of it, like when we have Christmas at our house, Indian Christmas, we have worship, right? Like, we're all in the living room and we have worship, right? And we sing the hymns. We have a small devotion. The tree's right there. It's on the side somewhere. All the presents are underneath. We have devotion. And then after that, it's time to eat and open up presents after that. And I gotta say, the windows have not popped open and a demon has never entered into the home, right?
Like, yeah.
Like, I don't know how else to say it. Like it, like, we kept, like, it's about how you do it. And that's exactly what Paul is saying. I love the way you summarize it too, man. Like, I think we've hit the nail on the head. And I really hope that if you were listening, if you made it this far in the episode, I think this is our longest episode.
Yeah.
I think this logical steps of how we're talking about it applies to Halloween. It applies to birthdays. It applies to other festivals that we might be struggling with as a Christian. Hey, should I be doing this? Do I not do this? And how does the Bible talk about it? Do I honor God by doing it? Right. I think there's an application process that extends beyond Christmas.
It does. I mean, Christmas, should Christians get tattoos, piercings? Should Christians wear certain things? You know, should Christians dress up for church or not?
Right.
That's a hill I'm willing to die on. You know, should Christians, should Christians go to sporting events? Various things. Like,
man, I don't think we understand. And this is the last thing I'll say on it, and then we can go ahead and end. Is the hulu dance that they do in Hawaii, right? That's a dance.
They shake.
Bro, we're not even we're not even going to go into that. They do that to celebrate their gods, bro. And do you see any Christian?
Those Polynesians going to hell. They're going straight to hell.
Do you see any Christians walking out of a hulu dance?
No, they don't. They don't know though. They don't care.
No, it's just a part of the culture, right?
I had something real petty in my head.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that the men are silently lusting after them, and
Thank you for tuning into the Christmas special.
The men are silently lusting after them, and the women are silently envious of their bodies.
Man, like it.
Yeah, good point though. Good point.
It's interesting because there's a version of dancing like that in the Indian culture as well, where the men are playing the drums, right, and the women are dancing. So and in European culture as well, right? And it's really interesting, man. Really interesting that we don't extend the same logic into a lot of other things that we do, and kind of pigeonhole ourselves into one little thing when it's
very true
across the board, through different cultures. So I really hope that this kind of blessed someone, man.
Certainly,
challenge somebody.
If you're one of those believers, who has been wanting to celebrate Christmas, but you possibly needed like more of like a stronger foundation to kind of sort of openly celebrate it from. I hope that you've been able to find that today. If you are a super Christian who was frustrated by what we said, please put in the chat. We want to hear from you. Your comments boost the algorithm. If you are not a believer of any kind and you possibly found that some Christians can be unnecessary, please put in the chat. Your rage bait will boost the algorithm. And if you possibly found freedom in what we I identified today, please put in the chat. We simply want this conversation to really be seen because it's so long.
It is. But bro, you know the sip sins and thing episode that we did on alcohol, I got it's over 100 views, man.
Wow.
And I think it keeps on pushing up. So I'm gonna definitely rage bait this title and call it Should Christians Celebrate Christmas, and make it a thing. And either we get in a lot of trouble or we find ourselves somewhere in between. But I think what I'm saying, and I think what you're saying too, is we respect your opinion. We're just hoping,
even if you're wrong.
Yeah.
Even if you're wrong, we respect it.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
And
Elijah might be better than me. Like if your opinion is like loud and wrong, like I'm not gonna sit here and say I respect it. Like the Lord may still have to work on me. I've only been pastoring for 3 years. He's been pastoring longer than me. He's almost at the 4-year mark.
I got like 6 months on you, bro. That's not that much different.
But you're about to hit the 4-year mark. I still got 3 years. 3 years won't. I mean, 4 years won't hit for me until several months after yours.
That's what I'm saying, man. It's all good. I just want people to know that we love them, even though we might disagree. And at the end of the day, we're all in the same kingdom. And
we're learning how to responsibly disagree and still love. That's what it is.
Exactly.
So with that being said, Merry Christmas to all the saints and all the ain'ts. We love you, and we hope that you get a lot of gifts for Santa.
From Santa. All right, guys. We'll see you in our next episode. Jajuan clearly still believes in Santa Claus, and I hope you sent out your letter to Santa this year, Jajuan, and you get everything that you're looking for. I hope you get a new suit too from Santa, from Suit Supply. I hope Santa gets that for you, bro. If you're tuning in, thank you so much for watching. This is the Two Young Pastors podcast. My name is Elijah. I'm joined by the awesome Jajuan Sanders. And we want to thank you for watching. Don't forget to like this episode, share it, and subscribe to the channel. We're now live on Apple Podcasts as well. So if you have iTunes, it's on Spotify, it's on YouTube. Make sure you join our community here on the Too Young Pastors podcast. And Merry Christmas, y'all. We'll catch you on the next one.
Merry Christmas. Peace out.